Hi guys, here we are at Small Scale Adventures HQ to have a look at the 4 new models that make up the WPL D62-D64 range. All based on mid-90s Toyota Hilux pickups, but with a few detail differences between the body designs and the running gear. The D62 is the 2-wheel drive version of the twin cab Toyota Hilux pickup. The body is built over a very easily recognisable D-series chassis, but there's been some technical changes, particularly around the front end, where to make way for the different drivetrain of the D64 version, the steering servo has been moved up to the front of the chassis. We've still got the leaf-sprung rear axle and the independent front suspension of the D-series, all very similar to the things you've seen before. We've got a 260 motor and a slightly lower geared gearbox for these pickup trucks to make them a little bit slower than the D12, D32, D42 models in the range. Body-wise, the D62 is available with the narrow stock body style. You can see the new design high offset wheels sit as far in under the body as the running gear will allow. We've got a factory style front bumper and a tube bumper on the rear, indicating that this may have been modified a little bit, this truck. So we have got the D62. However, as part of the D62 range, it's also available as the D62-1. D62, 2-wheel drive truck, but available also with the adventure body style. Adventure front bumper, we've got the snorkel mounted on the bonnet. We've got a double bar roll cage with spot lamps, and these have fittings for LEDs in the back. Similar style tube bumper on the rear, but you can see we've got the massive flared wheel arches that completely cover the wheels. So this is the custom version of the truck. D62s are the 2-wheel drive version of the new model, and they're available as the D62, the standard truck, and the D62-1, the adventure version with the pumped up wheel arches, the big front bumper, and the alternative roll bar. The other part of the range is the D64, and the 4 indicates that this one has got 4-wheel drive. Brand spanking new D-series chassis with 4-wheel drive system incorporated into the independent front suspension, which is why that steering servos had to be moved forwards. We've got our 4-wheel drive there. You can see these wheels spinning round. And another great new development for the D64 drivetrain is we have got open differentials in the front and rear axles, and I shall talk a little bit more about why I think that's a good idea later. Same leaf sprung rear suspension and independent front suspension with the torsion bars that we've seen on D-series chassis before. D64, the 4 indicates that it is 4-wheel drive, but again it's available in both versions. I've got the D64-1 here with the adventure body, flared wheel arches, spot lamp roll cage, snorkel attached to the body, and the adventure front bumper. The D64 is the standard version of the truck, so you get the stock body, stock front bumpers, and less exuberant roll cage mounted in the bed. Obviously I've only got 2 examples of the trucks here. I've actually got a D62, so the 2-wheel drive stock body, and the D64-1, the 4-wheel drive adventure body. But both those bodies, both those chassis combinations are available to make up the 4 trucks in the range. Some other interesting differences between the regular and the -1 version. The -1 version's got a very recognisable Toyota front end with the turn signal indicators leaning back towards the top of the fender, whereas the stock body version has got a front end treatment very much more like the VW Taro version of the Toyota Hilux, and some built-in China versions of the Toyota Hilux, and I'm going to put up a picture for you up there now. Inside the D62 version, you can see the new chassis design. Lots of things carried over from the original D series chassis, including mounting points that match up with the D12 and D32 bed. Front body mounting arrangements at the front are a little different though, so if you're considering chassis swaps, you're going to have to get creative with mounting the cab. Battery location is under the spare wheel hatch door, as it is on the other D series chassis, and you've got the latest version of the WPL D series combined electronics with the sockets mounted for the WPL full lighting kit, so you can set your rig up very easily with full scale lighting. Really nice aspect of the new chassis is the wheel design. These are designed to have a high offset to sit the wheels in under the body, but there is also a new knuckle design, designed with the pivot point further out than the kingpin to give true Ackerman geometry to the steering. These trucks steer and handle really well. This is the 2-wheel drive version, obviously being the D62, so it's got traditional D series stub axles that you have seen before. At the back we have got the same WPL solid axle that feature in the rest of the RTR range. No differential in there. This one's solid. These love to drift. Plastic drive shafts, as with the rest of the RTR range, but all of the existing D series upgrades fit the D62 chassis. Having a look inside the D64 now. This is the 4-wheel drive drivetrain, and the most exciting new development of these new D series. I can't wait to get experimenting with this. I have some ideas for some trucks I want to build. Not much difference from the top. You can see we've still got the battery mounted under the rear bed inside the spare wheel activated battery catch. We have got a brand new rear axle design. You can see the slightly squarer axle pumpkin that houses the open differential. Same drive shafts, so if you want to use the standard WPL metal drive shaft, you can do. If you wanted to replace it with a WPL metal axle in the back as well. Although the pinion and spur gear design are different, they're the same ratio as the other WPL accessories, so you can use the metal axle on the back of this. I think that's one modification I will be making to this chassis. I'll put a solid axle on the rear to get a little bit more off-road performance, and I will leave the front open, perhaps with some heavyweight grease in it, just to lock up the differential a little bit, again to aid that off-road performance, but maintain the great steering and handling that the differentials give this truck. You can see we have got the servo up the front. The steering is actuated by a slider, moved right and left from the servo horn in a very similar way to the original D series chassis, but which was mounted behind the axle. Funky new gearbox in both trucks with a clear plastic housing that differentiates this from the other gearboxes in the other D series. No metal upgrades for the front as yet, but we're eagerly looking forward to seeing what happens with those. Let's have a look inside that front differential. A prop shaft coming up from the D series gearbox into this lay shaft, which raises the drive shaft and then connects to the differential. And there we can see the open differential in the front there. I like the front drive shaft design, very similar to the prop shafts, so if parts break I can see these being easy to repair with existing parts you might have in stock. So there's our new front differential. Once we are inside the chassis, we can see the new drivetrain D64 back together. So I guess it's time to give the trucks a drive. First thing we're going to have a look at is the steering, manoeuvring capabilities of this new chassis compared to an original 4x4 drivetrain with the locked axles at front and rear. As you can see, this platform negotiates the course really well. I can see this being popular with the guys who build 1/14 Tamiya trucks, set up massive cityscapes at their events. These trucks will fit in brilliantly with those. Metal wheel hexes on the back axle there. The limitations of the traditional locked axle 4x4 platform are clear. This C24 really doesn't stand a chance of being able to negotiate this same course, but it's always good to remind ourselves of the really nice low speed controllability of the Res V3 radio combined with the 2-speed gearbox. We are nearly at the 15-minute mark now. I think that's enough for this video. I will be back another day with some run video of both the D62 and D64, so please do like and subscribe. Thank you for watching for this long. Here's some lovely pictures of the D64 and the C24 posed together.